Now, your hosts, Vicki Hyman and Erin Medley.
Hello and welcome to Remote Possibilities. I am Erin Medley with Vicki Hyman. Hello, Vicki.
Hey, Erin.
Oh my gosh, it's such a big week. We have so many things to talk about. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Remote Podcast, at @E_meds, and at Vicki Hy, VICKIHY. Vicki, you know what we haven't done in a while?
A quiz.
Oh my God.
We haven't done a quiz in a really long time.
That's not what I was thinking, but yes.
Okay. They are really hard to put together.
Maybe we'll do a quiz for Dancing with the Stars.
Okay. I just wrote up the post. So
I edited
now
one
I
this
know
morning.
who these people are, so there you go.
Yes, so today we're going to talk about, I didn't say what we haven't done in a while.
Oh, sorry.
We haven't said the show number. I don't know what show we're on, like 60-something? 65?
68.
Let's just keep guessing.
No, it's 68. That's what Melissa says.
Oh my gosh, 68 shows people have stuck with us. At least Jack Lugo and
Yes.
Kitty Bravo fan or Bravo Kitty fan, whichever one it is. I always get it wrong, sorry. So on today's show, we're going to talk about a bunch of things. We're going to start out talking about a little bit about imposters, which we mentioned last week, the Oscars, The Bachelor, When We Rise, and the big death last week on Nashville, and whether or not shows can survive when their lead characters get killed off. Spoiler alert.
Connie Britton.
Dead. Raina James, no more. All right, so let's talk about imposters real quick, because last week that was our show that, what do we say, flies under the radar or something like that. I don't know.
Lost in the Shuffle.
Lost in the Shuffle. That's right. And at that point, we had both seen the first 2 episodes, but you had not seen the 3rd episode.
Mm-hmm. And so I watched the 3rd and the 4th last night.
Okay,
I caught up. And I'm like, I remember you saying, "Oh, the 3rd episode," but I honestly didn't know what you were talking about. I enjoyed it pretty much just as much as I enjoyed every other episode. However, episode 4 wasn't as crazy about because I really do not like this Uma Thurman character or how she plays her. That's my problem.
So when we last discussed, we had the 3 spurned exes looking for the con woman. Then we had the con woman and her 2 sidekicks running a con on a new guy.
In Seattle.
And so it was like a little light. It was fun. The exes were trying to figure out how to be grifters. Ha, so funny, light tone for the most part. And then in episode 3, at the very end, this Uma Thurman character shows up, and she's like an assassin in a cleanup woman. And in the 4th episode, she's like threatening our con woman because she is not following the con and doing her job correctly.
In the longest scene, it felt like 20 minutes long, and she's doing some sort of like weird mashup of the bride from Kill Bill and Mia from Pulp Fiction, and I wasn't buying it, and it didn't fit in. And even how it was shot, like they're doing weird angles, and I'm like, and it was long, and I don't get it.
The whole thing was terrible. Like, yeah.
I like Uma Thurman, but I mean, whatever she's doing there is not fitting into with the whole, theme, the whole mood of the show.
But that's not her fault. I think that's the way the show's written. I don't think the show really understands what it wants to be.
That's true, but she is doing such an obvious riff on her character, on those 2 characters, that I think she could have avoided doing that. Maybe she didn't know. Maybe she hadn't seen the other stuff, and nobody can tell Uma Thurman not to do, what Uma Thurman does really well. It didn't work for me, and I'm a little concerned about this now.
Oh, okay, good. I'm glad we're on the same page again, because I was concerned about you.
Yeah.
But now that
we only saw a little bit of Uma Thurman in the 3rd episode, and it was like it was like a neat sort of intro, but it didn't work at all.
I just had a feeling it was not going to go well. And then there was also like the dark turn with the boss, who became like a complete psych. Now, mind you, I did not finish the entire 4th episode because I got tired. However, and it also was going in a direction where I was like, I don't really care that much to stay up to watch this. But like the boss got really controlling and crazy.
Well, they already showed him sort of being like controlling and crazy in the beginning, but like this got like scary stalker malice kind of crazy. I think the show is really struggling with like how dark to take it. And I sort of felt that there. Did you watch the scene where our con woman is having dinner with her boss?
Oh no, she had dinner with him in this episode?
Yes, she's with that sexy tech guy that she really
Mm-hmm.
likes, that she's getting close to, and then she realizes she's supposed to go on a date with her boss. She runs in late. He's sort of like, but then he turns out to bore her so much that she imagines him choking and dying at the table, and she continues to eat.
Oh, that
But
was
it's not.
episode
Yes.
3.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I mix them up.
Yes,
But
I
it
did
wasn't
see
clear.
that.
It wasn't clear at first that like, did she poison him? And then I'm like, oh, this is interesting. She's gonna let him die, and then it was just,
A
her,
fantasy.
yeah, fantasy. And I'm like, so where are you going here? So.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, and then for people that want to watch, it's on Bravo, so you should be able to watch it on demand. The problems with this show, for me, indicate why it's on Bravo and not like on why it's on like USA. Which
Really, you'll have to explain to me the difference. I'm sorry.
I love my USA shows. They tell good stories.
I don't know. I don't think I watch anything on USA except for Mr. Robot.
And the tone of the USA stories are on point. Like they know their perspective, they know their point of view, and they stick to it. Whereas Imposters, I think they're still trying to figure it out. And I think by the time they figure it out, I will be gone.
Yeah.
So there's that. All right. We said we were going to spend only a couple minutes on that, but it was important to discuss. Moving on to news. In some sad news, we learned on Sunday that Bill Paxton passed away. He was, of course, the actor known for Twister and Aliens. He's currently, he was starring on Training Day on CBS. Vicki, anything to add there? He was only 61.
No, I mean, like, that's terrible. Anybody dying at 61. And then the inevitable Bill Pullman joke started happening. I know.
I'm so glad you said it and not me. That was my first thought, was like, now people can't confuse them.
Yes, he's the one who's still living. But yeah, right. I was like, oh, I loved him in While You Were Sleeping. It's like, oh, Vicki, stop too soon. No. No, it's terrible.
I thought he was great in Independence Day.
Thank you.
That
but no, I do have to say that I do love Bill Paxton in his little heralded role as Chet in Weird Science, one of my favorite movies growing up. So
Weird Science is a good movie. Yeah. So R.I.P. Bill Paxton. In other death news, Doubt was canceled.
You told me that yesterday, and I was like, really? That was fast. Two episodes? Oh, yes. My God.
By the way, the 2 episodes that were available for press screenings, I only watched one. Like, I mean, look, I'm very surprised. I know the ratings weren't great, but it wasn't a terrible, it was fine. It's this very CBS show, like I wouldn't expect anything more from it.
Yeah, so it's like, why did they not give it any length at all? I don't know. It is really weird.
I think it's weird too.
Maybe they have something in the wings they want to bring on they think is more promise, but it's like, do you think this is going to be Katherine Heigl's last comeback vehicle? Because this is her second one since Grey's Anatomy. So do we give her a third chance? I mean, I think we discussed this and we discussed Doubt last time. I don't really kind of understand. I think she's a solid actress. I have no issues with, like, she unfortunately was embroiled in the whole what was the movie where she got pregnant? Knocked Up, the whole Knocked Up, that didn't look, that it wasn't a good look for her, even though I didn't think she really did anything bad there. But, there are so many good actresses out there. I don't understand why, she of all people gets 2 comeback vehicles. 2.
Yeah. I mean, I liked her when she was on Grey's Anatomy, and then she went on and had that romantic comedy movie career that we probably all could live without. And I liked that show she was on, State of Affairs. Like, at least for the first couple of episodes, it was fine. I agree.
It was, again, but it was just fine, but it was exactly what it was.
Right. I think maybe she needs to be, even though, although Doubt itself was an ensemble, they were definitely trying to make her the lead. Maybe she just needs to be part of, like, the background. Like, maybe she shouldn't lead. I mean, but in the ensemble, but not the focus of the ensemble. Mm-hmm. Like, Grey's Anatomy is the ensemble, is an ensemble show, but, what's her name is the lead?
Ellen Pompeo.
Thank you. Yes. I love that you corrected me on Grey's Anatomy when I've watched every single season and every single episode. And I'm like, what's that lady's name?
Yeah. Right.
All right. In some other news, this morning we found out who will be on season 24 of Dancing with the Stars.
Okay, can we talk about this for a second? There are ringers and then there are ringers.
I completely agree. But wait, let me go through the list and then we'll talk about the ringers because I'm with you 100%.
That's ridiculous.
Okay, so we have Bonner Bolton, who I believe is the bull rider.
A bull rider who was temporarily paralyzed last year and overcame it, is now an international male model.
I can't.
Okay,
With the
yes.
nonsense. Okay, Charo. We all know who Charo is.
Good.
Yes, Chris Kattan from Saturday Night Live. David Ross, who I believe is a baseball player.
The first baseball player on Dancing with the Stars, apparently. That's what ABC tells me.
Whatevs.
Okay.
Erica Jane, also known by her legal name, Erica Girardi. She's a Real Housewife of Beverly Hills, whom I love, by the way. Heather Morris from Glee. Nancy Kerrigan, Olympic figure skater. Normani Corday, who is in Fifth Harmony. Nick Viall, our Bachelor.
Yes.
Mr. T, no introduction needed. Rashad Jennings, a football player. And Simone Biles, 4-time Olympic gold medalist. That's how you say that, right?
Yes. I'm sorry. I am so coiled in rage at this.
Okay, so
Heather Morris was Beyonce's backup dancer. That is no way an amateur person coming onto a show. I know, yes, she's probably never done the foxtrot.
No. I'm with you. But here's what I'll say to that. And I completely agree with you. And I think she was on season 2 of Dancing of So You Think You Can Dance.
She was.
Okay, but here's the thing. Normally, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they have that ringer. They have like 5 ringers because I think the other people who can compete equally as well are Simone Biles.
Yes, I agree.
Nancy Kerrigan.
Yes.
Erica Jane and Charo. So I think that... I think Charo...
I mean, she knows the steps, but I mean, she is not going to be as flex. She's like, what, 80? Honestly, how old is Charo? No, I'm serious.
Wait, we'll look it up. We'll look it up.
I mean, do you remember? I mean, like...
But, okay, fine. She was on Love Boat, and that was in the 70s. But, you know, but the other ones, you can't discount the other ones. I mean, Erica Jane is a performer. Have you seen her video for Expensive? She gets down. Charo's 65, by the way, so you aged her by
oh my God.
15 years.
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Can I just go for a second? When you're growing up and you're like 10 years old and somebody's on a TV show, it's very hard to believe that they're only like 15 or 20 years older than you when you are an adult. I'm sorry, because they're like so old when you're a kid. So I
Vicki's
apologize.
backpedaling.
I apologize to the Charo American community. I'm very sorry.
You had Charo in like a nursing home.
Sorry. I'm so sorry. I take it all back. I'm sorry. I mean, my mom's 80. I could not imagine her doing this.
Charo is 65.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I thought she was older. I am so sorry.
Producer Alyssa, make sure you write that down. We need you to tweet that Vicki aged Charo by 15 years. Please send all of your hate tweets to @Vicki High, VICKI.
No. Over you so nobody can hear you. No. No, but back to Heather Morris. Yes, no, I know. Lori Hernandez last year, ringer. Everybody expected her to do really well. But this is somebody who has spent her life dancing on a floor. Like, she's not like the ice dancer or the figure skater. I mean, like, come on. That's ridiculous.
I agree, but I would also say, I don't know. I wouldn't count any of those other ladies that I mentioned out because, especially Erica Girardi, I'm going to send you a link to her video 0FUCKS, which is amazing. Oh, it's so good. I mean, I'm totally rooting for her. But she is a great dancer. She's in her mid-40s. And then, those figure skaters and gymnasts also take dance lessons. I mean, Lori Hernandez won last year. So I think that while Heather Morris is certainly absolutely 100% the ringer, there are like 4 other contenders. But those other people, we can count them out. We can count all of the men out.
Do you watch this year after year?
No, I never watch it.
Okay, so I was going to say, I mean, like, because I just feel like they've gotten more and more ringery as we get on. But I wouldn't actually count out the men because who knew that that race car driver from last year was going to be so awesome. So the bull rider could be great. You have no idea.
Dario? No.
No.
Niall?
No. He was great. Whoever he was last year, I love you. You're great. Marry me. But yeah, that guy.
Says the already married Vicki Hyman.
Yes.
All right. Well, that guy. So you'll be watching Dancing with the Stars?
I didn't say that, but okay. Last year I watched the whole thing because of Lori Hernandez, but we don't have a Jersey gal on this year.
That's true. Well, I may or may not watch. We'll see. All right. So let's talk about the big show of the week on Sunday, the 89th annual Academy Awards aired on ABC, hosted by Jimmy Kimmel. Vicki, overall, outside of the flub at the
Last
end,
5 minutes.
which we'll talk about, what did you think of the show?
Fine, pretty much like I always feel about the Oscars. I thought I did like the Justin Timberlake opening act, where they were obviously doing something very different. I thought that it was fun. Maybe the crowd didn't get into it as much as they hoped they would get into it, but there's only so many times and ways you could do the spoof of the movies, yada yada yada. So I appreciated it. I liked it. There was a lot of zingers in there. Poor Mel Gibson. I can't believe the words "poor Mel Gibson" just came out of my mouth. Okay, I'm gonna have to
Please
turn on my Zoom card.
explain.
They were just harshing on Mel Gibson almost as much as they were harshing on Donald Trump. Yeah, I know. I do not feel bad for Mel Gibson, but I was a little tired of the food shtick.
Oh my God. Like, can we talk about it? This is now the third year in a row. Started with Ellen. Wait, the Ellen was 3 years ago, right? Started with Ellen.
I think it was 2014.
Okay. Yeah,
might have skipped
14, 15.
Well,
Oh,
anyway,
skipped on.
it's definitely happened
Anyway.
twice. And the cookies, the Girl Scout cookies, and then the Emmys had the pizza delivery from the Stranger Kids, right? The Stranger Things kids. It's like
peanut butter and jelly.
Peanut butter. I'm sorry. It's enough. It's enough. Okay.
I agree. I'm over the food thing. Also, because I'm watching at home and you're not dropping food to me. So, why do I care that the people in the auditorium are getting food? Like, whatever.
Yeah.
They're going to the freaking governor's ball that's catered by Wolfgang Puck. Like, I don't care that they're having Mike and Ike's.
Yeah, I did like the tour bus gag, which I didn't think it was going to lead. I thought they were building it up too much, but Gary from Chicago and his fiance Vicki. I mean, it was really sweet to see the celebrities interact with them. I liked it. You did not like it.
I thought it went
on too long, though.
It
did go on too long. I will grant you that.
I also didn't buy it at first. They seemed just too good and too into it. However, I did read online yesterday that Gary from Chicago had been incarcerated for 22 years, so they were not actors at their first
just released like a week ago. So yeah,
I know. Crazy town.
I think actually my favorite moment of the show was when Jimmy Kimmel asked Vicki who her favorite celebrity is, and she sees Denzel, she's like, that man right there, and I was like, oh, yes, that did it for me.
I know, it was fine. So otherwise, I thought the show was pretty good, and that Jimmy Kimmel did a good job moving it along and actually participating, because as I've said before about shows like the Golden Globes and the Emmys, the host comes out in the beginning and then they disappear.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't think he disappeared. I think he was there for the long haul, and I like that a lot.
And he always had his Matt Damon bit, which I thought was funny.
Yeah, that was fine. Okay. I will say, though, that 11:14 for a show that was supposed to end at 11:30, I was like, okay, they're going to start, chucking all of the extras and just like get to the awards. And that did not happen. And then we get to 12. And then the biggest shock of the night occurred, which is when Warren Beatty, now watching it at home, you thought that Warren Beatty was trying to like make a funny, and it wasn't. And I was just like, come on, man, like stop dragging it out. Like, please just announce the freaking winner. He hands the card to Faye Dunaway, and she says La La Land. The cast from La La Land, the producers, all rush up on stage. And then like a couple minutes later, it was like, oh, our bad. Nope, Moonlight, you won. What?
Yeah, I loved it because I very rarely get to watch a lot of shows that are live. I missed the Steve Harvey thing, and so I'm already watching it the next day when I know what happened, and it was like it's kind of cool to watch something unfold that was so unexpected. I was literally going, "Oh my God!" Oh, my husband's in the next room going, "What's happening?" And I just kept saying, "Oh my God, this isn't happening! Oh my God!" It was kind of awesome. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I feel bad for the Moonlight people. I feel bad for the La La Land people. I do feel bad for both of them.
I also feel bad for the guy from PricewaterhouseCoopers, who they are just throwing under the bus, backing the bus up, running him over, then going forward, then backing it up again. And I'm like, this poor man, like, it was a mistake. Then they're like, oh, he was tweeting when he shouldn't have been. He should have been focused on his job of handing out an envelope. And I'm just sorry. Come on, guys.
But it's true. It was handing an envelope. It was one job. It was one job, and the biggest one of the night. I'm sorry. I don't feel bad for the price. I feel bad for Warren Beatty, who everybody thinks is a doddering old fool now. And
no, I disagree. And I'll tell you why I disagree. I'm so passionate about this. I fine. The guy from PricewaterhouseCooper, he made a mistake, like, and he shouldn't have. And yes, he had one job to do, but like, let's move on. Like, he doesn't need to be fired for that. I'm sure he's a pretty good accountant. That's number one. But number two, Warren Beatty, if you rewatch how it played out, he clearly sees that it is incorrect on the card. He takes like 10 minutes.
That was not 10 minutes. It was like 10 seconds.
10 seconds. He takes a 10-second pause to look at it, clearly says Emma Stone La La Land. And instead of saying like, hey guys, there's something, or like flipping it over to look at the envelope where it says, Best Actress, like he then passes it over to poor Faye Dunaway, who's the one who really got screwed in the situation.
She did get screwed, although I have to say, I think that when he passed it over to her, and this all, like, it seems like it took a long time, I think it was like a split second for them. He should have said, Faye, look at this, not like read this out. But you can see why she was confused, because she thought he was making a funny. Obviously,
Right.
The thing to do would have been like, and this is going to be bad no matter what, okay? But the best possible way would be Warren Beatty saying, hey, we have, and be very specific, we have the wrong category here. Don't say, this can't be the right film, because then people are going to be like, oh, the wrong category, and then walk to the side of the stage, swap the envelopes and come back. And it would have been like, oh, but, it wouldn't have been like, oh.
Right.
Yes.
So, obviously, the number one person at fault is the accountant, but the second person is Warren Beatty. Like, you're a grown man. You have been in this business forever. Just say like something's not right. It's not right. You are looking, you can see it. He's looking at it like something is wrong here.
I think if Faye Dunaway had not been there with him, he would have said, like, but he was looking for some like confirmation, like, oh my God, what is this? And she didn't get it. But
can't. But anyway, 3-4 days later, I think we can stop talking about this. Like, let's put it to rest at this point. I mean, I'm over it. So many other things to discuss in the world.
Yes.
No?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. We agree on that. Then speaking of important topics, the segues today are on point. A mini-series has been airing on ABC, or actually started airing on Monday, called When We Rise. It's from Dustin Lance Black, and it tells the story of the gay rights movement that started in San Francisco. I've watched 2.5 of the 4-part miniseries. Vicky, what did you see? The first 2 hours?
Yes, the first 2 hours.
It has a lot of stars in it, especially in the latter half.
Oh, really? Because there was a bunch in the first part. I mean,
Whoopi Goldberg, Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah. The guy from Frasier, I can't remember his name. I keep wanting to call him Neil Patrick Harris, but it's not. David Hyde Pierce.
Pierce.
3 names.
Yes. Michael DeLorenzo.
Yes, Michael DeLorenzo. I was like, oh my God, the guy from Fame. In drag. So I really recognized him. Okay.
No, in the second half we get Michael K. Williams, right? Did I get that right? Yeah. Michael K. Williams.
Mary Louise Parker.
Whoopi Goldberg, I think, is still in it, or Rosie, one of them. And then it's just a bunch of other names. But I really enjoyed the documentary. It's not documentary, the miniseries, which is based on the lives of real people who were part of the movement. And, I think what perfect timing ABC has with this miniseries. No?
There are a lot of perfect timing things going on that were totally accidental timing things going on. I mean, completely accidental. But yes, I think I struggled with it a little bit because I feel like it's coming out it's a little bit too much earnestness in it for me. That you're talking about these 3 young activists and how they came about, and they are like, Cleve Jones is a little too cocky. Roma's a little too uncertain about her sexuality. There's they have their flaws, but they're not real flaws because they're such wonderful people who don't do anything wrong. And it's a little bit hagiography for me. It's just like, it doesn't feel like a warts and all, like these are actual human people. It seems like they're almost getting too sainted in the process. But that said, I'm enjoying it. I do like it. And there are some really horrific moments. There's some gay bashing scenes. There's really just heart-wrenching scenes that I know actually I'm sure they feel very true to people who've come out to their families, those kind of experiences. So, I mean, bravo for doing it. I'm a little, I had the same feeling when I was interviewing Bear Peck last week, who is one of the producers of I Am Not Your Negro, the Oscar-nominated documentary. It's like, okay, who is the audience for this? Um, you know, James Baldwin, whose works the documentary is based on, was, very confrontational, talking about like, white people basically have to step up and do things because we're all part of the same narrative. Are white people who, need to step up going to be the people who watch his film? And so I'm
No.
wondering who is tuning in for this one? And is it people who have gay people in their family, gay people, interested people, and are the producers of this documentary hoping to change minds, or just hoping to tell a story for people who want to receive that story?
Of the miniseries or the documentary?
The miniseries.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't think that. I don't know who the heck is. No offense. I mean, like, I enjoyed it and I watched it because I had access to it, early as screeners. But had I not had access to it, I don't think I would watch it on TV. Like, if I didn't need to talk about it on the show as a television viewer, I wouldn't have watched it. And I am totally pro the LGBTQ community. But like, I don't know. It's just not something that I would spend 8 hours watching.
Yeah.
If it was just a 2-night thing, then totally, I'd be in for 4 hours. I don't even know if I'm going to finish it at this point. We'll see. The ratings were not good.
Oh, how bad?
Night.
How bad?
It averaged 0.7 in the 18 to 49 demo. So that's 700,000 18 to 49-year-olds. Like, talk about a demo that cares about this topic, and that's how many people watched. And a total of 3 million viewers. And that came off of The Bachelor. Now, be ready for shock and awe. The Bachelor episode that aired before it had a 2.4 rating in 18 to 49 and 7.7 million total viewers.
Wow.
So it didn't even retain half of the audience and way less than half in the demo.
People just turned off. Wow.
They were like, yeah, no, we're done.
That's sad.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, even freaking Supergirl had
on the CW.
Higher ratings on the CW.
Well, I kudos to ABC for putting this out there, making it, committing to it. And I think it is. I think it is worth watching.
I agree. I mean, it's important, especially to be informed about, the conversations that are happening now. I do think, and I want to see if you agree, do you think this would have done better had it been on like a Netflix or Hulu or something like that?
See, I don't think it's sort of edgy enough for Netflix. It is very like, I think it's a very traditional miniseries. But
if it was created for Netflix, it could have been edgier.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Well, there's in the first 2 hours, there is that love making scene with Roma and whatever that other woman's name is that I thought was a little racy for the 8 o'clock hour.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, they were shirtless. I mean, you didn't see boobs,
I mean,
but
there were like 3 different sex scenes, but they were cut off pretty quickly. I don't know.
There is another really big sex scene. I think it's in the second part. With Cleve and 2 of his roommates. Well, Cleve's not in.
I was like, what? Okay.
It's not an orgy. No. Cleve walks in on 2 of his roommates. And I was like, whoa, that's going to be on ABC? Like, I can't believe it. All right. So we'll keep watching when we rise, but the ratings aren't that great. I'd be surprised if the network did something like this again, where it's like 4 full nights of programming in prime time.
I mean, miniseries like this have pretty much gone out of favor on the broadcast networks like many, many years ago. So I don't know.
We'll see. Speaking of, I'm taking like a detour, quick one here. I don't know. Do you watch The Mick on Fox?
No, I watched the first like 2 or 3 episodes and that was it. I know it got a second season.
It hasn't picked up for a second season. It stars Caitlin Olsen as the aunt to these, or aunt, depending on who you are, to these 3 kids whose parents are on the run for like tax evasion or something like that. And they're very rich and she is not. And I love the show. I think it's really funny. I think it's pretty edgy. Caitlin Olsen is from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. But on the episode that aired Tuesday night, speaking of LGBT rights, the little boy on the show, Ben, decided he wanted to wear a dress to school.
Mhm.
And so, the principal objected to that, and the Mick pulled him out of school. And the whole argument was brought up about whether or not transgender people should be able to use the bathroom of their identified gender. And I was just like, wow, look at Fox. Like on a comedy, a half-hour comedy taking on transgender rights. It was surprising, but in a refreshing way. I was like, they are like willing to take this risk. And it was like, it's on at 8:30.
I know. Sometimes I think it's better to do it in a comedy because it's like they do it in a way I think that makes it more palatable than like if you have the drama and you make it a big thing. I don't know. I think comedies can do this very well.
I agree, but let me read you the quote because while they do make it more palatable, they were not like skirting the issue. So basically, what the Mick said was, "It doesn't take a little boy in a dress to molest your daughter. I use the girls' room. I could easily molest her anytime I want." And then they kept that theme, like that joke running through the rest of the episode.
That joke running, wow.
That joke, yes, exactly. And it's just like, it was so edgy. I was very surprised, but also happy about it.
Well, one of the reasons why I didn't keep up with the Mick is because I felt like it was trying to be edgy and just wasn't there. It was playing it a little too safe, but apparently that's not the problem anymore.
Not the problem. They also use the word vagina, not vagine, multiple times.
Vagine.
Speaking of vagines, oh my gosh, the great transitions continue. We're going to talk about The Bachelor and Corinne's ouster. Spoiler alert, she is gone. Vicki, you're sad.
Oh, I'm not sad. I'm not sad. I actually expected more fireworks when she left. I thought it was a little anticlimactic.
Did you?
I did. Yeah.
Do you think there would have been, you haven't really watched Bachelor, but do you think there would have been more fireworks if the rose ceremony had taken place at the end of last week's episode as opposed to the beginning of this week's episode?
I don't know. Why? I mean, like the actions would have been the same on the show that they filmed. I mean, it's just a matter of where they cut the taping.
Right. I know what you're saying, but I just feel like when you end an episode, they like to end it on like a high note. Whereas where you begin the episode and we know that they're going into the fantasy suite dates, like you kind of just got to like move on past the rose ceremony and the ouster.
No, I mean, like, she was just basically very sobby and sad. I was like, okay, all right. It was not really that different from anything else. I do expect the fireworks in the Ladies Tell All episode. That should be fun. Oh my
gosh. It's going to be the best. And the fireworks will be between her and Taylor.
Yeah.
Which cannot wait. Okay, so now we're down to our final three. We have Raven from Huxley, wherever that is.
Somewhere in the South where they have grain silos. Okay.
We have
Rachel.
Rachel? No, not Rachel, the other one.
The other one whose name I refuse to remember. I don't know.
Lord. Her. We still have her. She's from Canada.
Yes.
And we have Rachel, the new Bachelorette, everyone's favorite. They're all still around, but we only saw the one-on-one fantasy suite date with Raven.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
We learned so many things about her.
Okay, so my first full season of The Bachelor, and okay, the deal with Raven is that she's only ever been with one man who did not sexually fulfill her. And we
Vicki.
got this. What?
We've already said vagina. I think we can say orgasm.
Okay.
So,
and so she had I don't know. I don't think she had to have this conversation, and yet she did have this conversation with Nick about how, first of all, she said she loved him, which was like apparently a big thing.
Because she also has never told a man that she has loved him. So she's had one boyfriend. She's never had an orgasm. And she has never told a man that she's loved him. And she revealed all three on her first one-on-one overnight date with her potential fiance.
But I did not feel like the love. I mean, I'm like, okay, I was going to say that came. That happened. She told him she loved him. But when she had to have this excruciating conversation with him about having never slept with anybody and having never had an orgasm, oh my God. And I tweeted you, I'm like, please tell me that they are always this excruciating.
No.
No. Oh my God. I can't even believe what I was like. I was just dying inside. I was like a little shriveled up husk.
Like, were you embarrassed for her? Because we know her parents.
For everybody. I was embarrassed for everybody. everybody in the world. Everybody in the world. Ashamed, embarrassed. I was just like, no.
Do you
Her
think that
her poor ex-boyfriend?
this is the ex-boyfriend that she beat with a okay, so hold on, let's unpack this just a little bit. So this is the ex-boyfriend that she beat with a stiletto after she realized that he was cheating on her because she walked in on him and the woman. And so she beat him with a stiletto. I'm just going to tell you that for a man that I don't love and has never given me an orgasm, like I'm not going to risk jail time beating him with a stiletto. Like
I'm not going to risk
saying,
ruining my stiletto.
That as yes, more importantly, let's
getting blood on my
shoe.
Stiletto. Yeah, respect the shoe.
I think the entire conversation, the whole date, just sort of showed her age, because I think she's like 24, and we know our Bachelor Nick is 36. I don't think that's going to work out.
I mean, I have long held this opinion that that most people who go on reality shows must be orphans, because who could go on a reality show knowing that their parents are watching it? I've always felt this way.
But you know her parents are watching.
I know they're like, I don't get it. And so now they're going to have an equally awkward, like either confessional or conversation about whether or not she had an orgasm. Parents do not need to know this. How can they not? They brought it up. How can she not reveal whether it happened or not?
I really don't need to see. I don't need to know, honestly.
You don't need to know, but it's going to happen.
And I don't want to know. And I already know too much about Nick's sex life. Like, I'm good with the idea that like these people don't have sex. Like, they're Barbie and Ken. They have no...
They have no genitalia.
No genitalia. There's no sex happening. I'm good with that. But yes, you're right. We will find out next week, I'm sure. And you know, at this point, we know Rachel is a bachelorette. Will she go home after the one-on-ones? Or will she make it to the final two?
And maybe she'll get picked and things break up very suddenly. I don't know.
You never know. Right? This was 3 months ago. Yeah. And we know Nick is going to be on Dancing with the Stars. I personally think he doesn't end up... Oh, Vanessa, that's her name. 10 minutes later. I personally think he doesn't end up with any of them, or he does this thing where he doesn't propose, but he's like, let's see where things go. And then that doesn't work out. Mm-hmm. One of the two, maybe.
I have no opinion.
All right. So next week, there is a freaking 3-hour Bachelor event. 3 hours.
I guess people can't see me shaking my head. I'm sorry. Oh my God. So it's the women tell all plus another episode?
No, it starts with the conclusion of this week's episode, and because this week should have been 2 hours, but When We Rise came on. And then it's an hour of the next episode, which is the 2 remaining fantasy suite dates and the women tell all. Mm-hmm. And then the next week is the last week. Thank goodness. Finale time.
Oh my God.
It's too much. Yes. And then we get a 10-week break for Dancing with the Stars, and then we come back for The Bachelorette, which we have to watch. I mean,
and this will be a very interesting one. How could it not be?
I agree. All right. So our final topic this week, last week on Nashville, which is on CMT, formerly of ABC, killed off its lead actress, star of the show, Connie Britton, who played the character of Raina James Claiborne, since she married Deacon. Vicki, have you ever watched Nashville?
I actually watched the first 2 seasons of Nashville, and because my husband is like a woman, he's not really, but he watches all these girl shows. So he likes Nashville, loves The Good Wife, loves Supergirl. I don't know what to tell you. He loves Nashville. He was very disappointed when I told him, because he wasn't aware that it moved to CMT. And so I had to tell him, it's been airing for like a month already. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't need him cluttering up my DVR with his stuff, so I probably deliberately did not tell him. But yeah, he was crushed. I was actually a little annoyed because I think I read an interview with her where she denied that she was being killed off because she'd gotten into a car accident, I think.
And then what happened was she had a stalker. Yeah. And then she had an encounter with the stalker, but that turned out okay. But when she was in the police car, I believe, and they were going somewhere, like the police car got into an accident, and that's what happened.
Yeah, but didn't she give an interview where she's like, no, I'm staying with the show, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I really hate it. I mean, they're in a no-win situation where it's like people, they're doing all these interviews. People want to know, are you killed off or not? And she can't tell them because that would ruin it. So she has to lie. And I really hate being lied to.
Oh,
So,
Lord.
no, I do. It's like the whole Jon Snow, Kit Harington thing, you know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm dead. And then, we're just not dead.
But if you're a fan of the show and you're someone who reads up on Nashville news, then you would know before it even moved over to CMT, there were rumors swirling that Connie Britton was like ready to get out and she was ready to go. So they had to do something. Like, it would just be weird. There's no way that Raina could leave the show without dying because she had 2 daughters and a husband. And so it's like, what is she going to do? Like, where's she going without them? And that's basically half the cast. So she had to die. But that brings us to this topic of whether or not a show can survive when they lose their lead actor. And I think the answer is resoundingly yes.
Yes, I absolutely agree. I mean, can you give me a show that didn't really really suffered? I mean, Cheers, maybe you could argue that Cheers wasn't as good without Shelley Long, but it was still really good and ran for a number of seasons.
And it ran, yeah.
Spin City, How I Met Your Mother, not How I Met Your Mother, I'm sorry, Two and a Half Men, I'm sorry.
2.5 Men, yep.
Yeah, I can't.
ER, after George Clooney left.
Yeah, but that was really, that was like more of an ensemble. It's like Izzy leaving Grey's Anatomy.
But then remember when Anthony Edwards left, and he was like a core central character on ER, and he died on the show.
I'm sorry, I will say that the one where it probably didn't work, but the show was towards the end of his life anyway, is The Office when Steve Carell left. And it was not good, really, after he left. They did a series of different people coming in and playing the boss. James Spader at one point, and, I don't want to upset James Spader fans out there, but, started off good, and then just it just sort of, it was not good. But the show was at the end of its life anyway.
Yeah, well, I think also, speaking of James Spader, on The Practice, didn't Dylan McDermott leave at one point, and then James Spader came in? I think it was something like that. But I think the show can survive if CMT wants it to survive. I'm not really sure what the ratings are since it's moved over, but the fan base is passionate. Mm-hmm. So, kill off your lead characters. Can you think of any other shows where you're like, the lead actor can go? Or character?
Are you saying, like, of all the shows now?
Yeah, the ones that are on.
Oh, God. You put me on the spot. I can't think of anything off. I'm sorry. I have to look at a schedule. And I'd be like, yes.
So I think that while I love her and I love the show, Ellen Pompeo could, at this point, leave Grey's Anatomy. And I know it's called Grey's Anatomy, but she could leave and the show would be fine. There were like 3 episodes this season where she was on. So yeah, there's that. I mean, I love her. I don't want her to leave, but she could.
I mean, they got rid of Patrick Dempsey, so why not? I mean, obviously the show could survive.
Oh my gosh, yes, good point.
Yeah.
And what about the guy from NCIS, Michael Weatherly? He left, and that show's still going on.
Yeah, because that show is just plug and play. I mean, does it really matter? I'm sorry.
True. Or another plug and play. I can go do this all day. CSI, when Gil Bellows left. I mean, that's not the actor's
William
name,
Peterson.
Yes.
Was that impressive? Was that impressive? I don't think ever watched an episode of CSI in my entire life.
That was really good. I swear I watched like 7 seasons of CSI. Like, not from the beginning, but like maybe season 3 to season 10. Mm-hmm. Oh, it was a good nap show. Again, nap shows are important for life.
Do you have any non-nap shows?
No. Yeah. Most of them are nap. No, you know what are my non-nap shows? Real Housewives and anything else on Bravo that's a reality show.
Ugh.
Sorry. I gotta really pay it. Sometimes I watch those twice. Like, if I feel like I missed a couple scenes where I wasn't paying attention, I'll watch them again.
The only time I ever do that is when I actually have to recap a show, and then I will end up probably watching it 3 times in total, which, just drives my entire family crazy. Yeah.
But you always pick up something new the second and third time around.
Yeah, I guess so. It's all worth it in the end for my journalism. For my hashtag journalism.
Hashtag fake news.
Yeah.
All right. So that's going to do it for this episode of Remote Possibilities. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Remote Podcast, at @E_meds, and at Vicki Hy, VICKIHY. We will be back with episode 69, which is appropriate for the rest of the fantasy suite dates on The Bachelor.
God, now you put this image in my mind. Thank you very much. Thank you
You're
very
welcome.
much, Erin.
Have a good
It's
week, guys.
lunchtime.